There are some adventures that start before you even step on the boat. Here in Ventura, a whale-watching trip with island packers begins at Ventura Harbor, one of the most scenic and easygoing spots on the California coast. You have the boats in the marina, the sound of the docks, seabirds overhead, and that feeling that you're right on the edge of something wild. Island Packers is located right in the Ventura Harbor Village, and if you're heading out for a whale-watching trip, it's a good idea to arrive about 45 minutes early so you have time to check in, get your boarding pass, and settle in before departure. And here's a pro tip. Freedom Coffee is right by Island Packers, so if you want to grab a coffee, a light snack, or just something warm before heading out on the water, it's a perfect stop before the trip begins. Once you board the boat and start pulling away from the dock, the harbor itself becomes part of the experience. You'll see boats from all over the world docked. You'll hear sounds of harbor seals as they sunbathe, and watch seabirds bobbing on the surface of the water. Then, the boat leaves the harbor behind, and everything opens up. The coastline starts to fade, the ocean gets bigger, and suddenly you're heading into one of the most incredible marine environments on the West Coast, the open ocean leading to the Channel Islands. This area is part of the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, a protected stretch of ocean surrounding the islands off Ventura and Santa Barbara counties. It's also part of the Santa Barbara Channel Whale Heritage Area, one of only 2 whale heritage areas in the United States. That designation recognizes places that are especially important for whales, dolphins, conservation, education, and responsible wildlife viewing. And when you're out there, it's easy to understand why. The Channel Islands sit in a place where the ocean currents, deep underwater canyons, nutrient-rich waters, and seasonal migrations all come together. That mix creates a food web that supports an incredible amount of life, from tiny plankton to bait fish, seabirds, dolphins, sea lions, and some of the largest animals on Earth. Depending on the season, you might see gray whales, humpback whales, blue whales, fin whales, or even the occasional orca. You also have a great chance of seeing dolphins, especially common dolphins and bottlenose dolphins. Sometimes they appear in small groups, but most of the time, they show up by the hundreds, racing alongside the boat, leaping through the wake, and turning the whole ocean into motion. On this trip, the wildlife did not disappoint. As we made our way through the channel, we started seeing dolphins, then more dolphins, and then the real show began, humpback whales. And not just one quick glimpse. We were lucky enough to see whale after whale, spouts rising in the distance, dark backs rolling through the water, flukes lifting before a deep dive. Every time someone thought the moment had passed, the crew would call out another sighting, and everyone would turn to look. That's one of the best parts of going with Island Packers. The crew is watching the water constantly, and they're great about helping everyone know where to look. They'll call out directions, explain what you're seeing, and share details about the animals, from how they feed, to why they migrate, to how to identify different species by their behavior. With humpbacks, there's something especially memorable about the way they move. They're massive animals, but there's a grace to them. A spout, a slow roll, a dorsal fin, and then that final lift of the tail before they disappear below the surface. You find yourself waiting in silence, scanning the horizon, hoping they come back up again. And on this day, they did. Again and again. Seeing that many humpback whales in one trip feels like a gift. Wildlife is never guaranteed, and every day on the ocean is different. That's what makes it so exciting. You're not watching a scheduled performance. You're stepping into their world for a few hours, and if the ocean gives you a show, you remember it. As the trip continued, we pulled out our to-go lunch from Frontside Cafe as the boat made its way towards Anacapa Island. Anacapa is one of the most recognizable of the Channel Islands, especially because of Arch Rock, the national stone arch that rises out of the water at the east end of the island. Most people see Anacapa from a distance, maybe from the shore or in photos, but seeing it from the water is completely different. From the boat, you get a unique perspective on the island's cliffs, sea caves, rugged shoreline, and the iconic arch. The island feels remote and dramatic, with steep volcanic rock dropping straight into the Pacific. It's one of those moments where you realize how close Ventura is to something that feels worlds away. We cruised right by the Anacapa Arch, and it was stunning. The water, the cliffs, the birds circling above, the shape of the island against the sky, it all felt like a reminder that the Channel Islands are one of the true natural treasures of California. On the way back, we saw more dolphins, slicing through the water and riding the energy of the boat. Then a couple more whales appeared before we turned fully towards Ventura Harbor. It felt like the ocean was giving us one last look before we headed home. After about 5 hours on the water, we made our way back into the harbor, tired in the best way, salty from the air, and still talking about everything we had just seen. A whale watching trip out of Ventura with Island Packers is more than just a boat ride. It's the harbor, the open channel, the islands, the wildlife, the crew, and the feeling of being close to something wild and unforgettable. Whether you see dolphins, sea lions, humpbacks, gray whales, blue whales, or just spend a few hours surrounded by the ocean and island views, it's the kind of Ventura experience that stays with you. And if you're lucky enough to have a day like this one, with dolphins all around, humpbacks surfacing again and again, and Anacapa rising out from the Pacific, it's a reminder that some of the best adventures in California start right here at Ventura Harbor.